How you doing, Doc? Thanks for seeing me today. I'll get right into it. So basically, I've been sick for about a week with the stomach flu, and I've been taking medication for that, and I definitely seem to be on the right path to recovery. But kind of weirdly, I've noticed a different symptom in the last 2 days. And I mean, I've had the stomach flu in the past, and this definitely was not a symptom I've had before, so I'm kind of worried. That's why I came in. Basically, I've noticed a persistent, like, kind of tingling sensation in my feet and legs, kind of like a pins and needles feeling. And even worse, today I noticed like a weakness in my legs. It's been even hard to go up the stairs, and the tingle sensation has started to spread upwards a little bit into my torso. Um, so I've been having these weird symptoms, and even more so, I think I'm having some shortness of breath right now. So, what do you think is going on? Because I've definitely never experienced something like this before. I'm really glad that you came in when you did, because without treatment, the symptoms you described would have gotten worse, and there would have been actually more complications in a very short amount of time. Unfortunately, it seems that you have developed what is known as Guillain-Barré syndrome, which we just call GBS for short. It's very rare, and I'm really sorry that you contracted this disease. And essentially, what is happening is that your body's immune system is mistakenly attacking parts of your peripheral nervous system. I'll help you to understand more about what exactly is happening in a little bit. Meanwhile, we do not know an exact cause, but it usually is preceded by an infectious illness just like the stomach flu that you're getting over right now, that you've had, you said, for a week. Another reason I think you have developed this is because of the tingling sensations in your feet and legs. This is usually a trademark sign of GBS. And like I said before, it's really good that you came in when you did, because pretty quickly other symptoms can develop, even as severe as muscle weakness that can evolve into paralysis. Excuse me. The fact that you had weakness in your legs that made it hard to even climb stairs means that this disease is pretty close to taking a turn for the worse. Let me know if you've had difficulty with eye or facial movements, like swallowing, speaking, chewing, or what I would describe as a severe cramp-like or achy pain, especially at night. Difficulty with bladder control or bowel function, or as you just said, difficulty breathing. Thanks for letting me know, because these are more telltale signs of GBS. Now that we have caught it, we have treatments that can ease your symptoms and shorten the time of illness, which I will get into more in a little bit. I have to tell you though, there is no cure per se, but 70% of people with GBS do eventually reach full recovery. There may be residual efforts for the rest of your life, but usually the recovery period is several weeks long. I also have to tell you that about 90% of affected people are at their weakest state 3 weeks after symptoms first start to appear. So unfortunately, the worst is probably yet to come. But I want you to be prepared for everything. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to tell you more about what exactly is going on in your body when you have GBS. When you have GBS, your body's immune system attacks part of the peripheral nervous system. And we call this type of disease an autoimmune disease, which is a type of disease where the body essentially attacks itself. Usually, the immune system uses antibodies and white blood cells to attack infecting microorganisms, but in GBS, it mistakenly attacks healthy nerves. Let me show you the peripheral nervous system. So, as you can see here, this is the nervous system in the body, and it is divided into two main parts: the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. So the central nervous system includes your brain and spinal cord, and it runs right down the middle of your body right here. While you can see, the peripheral nervous system includes everything else, and it goes all the way to the edge of your fingers to the end of your toes. And a symptom of GBS, the tingling sensation which started in your feet, is because it affects the peripheral nervous system, and that's the furthest end of the peripheral nervous system. So now that you understand the parts of the nervous system, the peripheral and central, I want you to understand exactly what GBS is attacking here, and specifically, we're talking about neurons. So, neurons are just the cells of the nervous system, and as you can see in this image, we can kind of look at them in three main parts: the soma or cell body, the axon, and the dendrites. What you really need to know about GBS is the axon. So, you can kind of think of axons as wires because they conduct an electrical signal. And many cells in both peripheral and central nervous system have a substance called myelin that surrounds these axons that speeds up the conduction of this electrical current. And that's really important when understanding GBS. Neurons. What is most common with these GBS cases, so most likely what is happening to your nerves, is that your immune system is incorrectly damaging the myelin sheaths that I mentioned that surround the axons of your peripheral nerves. So, as this damage continues, eventually, more so than the myelin itself, the actual axon becomes damaged. And this is why recently you've had developed symptoms of weakness in your legs. So, the weakness is because these damaged axons are not transmitting signals effectively, and thus they are not communicating with or responding to your brain's commands as they should. So that's why you have weakness in your legs. As for the tingling sensation, what most likely is happening is that the nerve damage in your peripheral nervous system is sending abnormal sensory signals to your brain. So these abnormal sensory signals that the brain is not used to is causing this spontaneous tingling sensation that you have in your feet. And there is no exact cause known for GBS, but there are various theories for how this nerve damage occurs. Most likely, we would call it something similar to molecular mimicry. So, if the molecules on the nerves are similar to molecules on microorganisms that the immune system would normally attack, then the body will incorrectly attack these same nerves. So, as in the case of GBS, if a microbe looks similar to myelin, then your immune system will incorrectly attack this myelin, and that's what's destroying the axons. So I'm going to go over a couple options that you might have contracted. So AIDP, or acute inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, is the most common kind of GBS seen, at least in the US. And overall, it is essentially what I described as the general symptoms of GBS, mainly the immune system damaging the myelin coating on axons, which interferes with the transmission of nerve signals. Also, like I explained briefly, when the axon itself becomes damaged by the immune response, there are actually two types of GBS that correspond to this, that these symptoms would reflect these two types. AMAN, or you could call it acute motor axonal neuropathy, or AMSAN, acute motor sensory axonal neuropathy. And finally, another variant of GBS that you should know about is Miller-Fisher syndrome. Excuse me. And key symptoms of this are poor muscle coordination and balance, or weakness or paralysis of the eye muscles. We won't know for sure what you have, but based on these symptoms and running more tests, we'll be able to figure it out. We can try plasma exchange or plasmapheresis or high-dose immunoglobulin therapy to interrupt immune-related nerve damage. Either one is fine, and since we have caught your GBS pretty early on, this might be the best course of action. Plasma exchange, for example, works by placing a catheter in your veins where blood will be removed and the blood cells will be extracted and returned to you. After your acute care treatments, you may have to go to rehabilitative care in order to return to your daily activities. So with proper care and the right treatments, we should be able to beat this, especially since 70% of people with GBS make a full recovery. And this recovery can take several weeks to several years, so you need to be prepared for all possibilities. What I want you to take away from this is you have developed a rare neurological disease in which your body's immune system is attacking parts of your peripheral nervous system. Though the worst symptoms are yet to come, we caught it early, and with proper treatment, you should make a full recovery.